Studio Trigger has always been seen as somewhat of a wild card in the anime genre. You never know what concoction they're going to come up with next, whether it's space fire demons from another dimension, or essentially driven robots piloted by children. Or another where a high schooler ends up becoming a space patroller to go take down aliens that also are connected to her space pirate mom. Trigger really likes going to space. But if it's another thing you can count on by Studio Trigger, it's their absolute crazy love for giant robots. And well, Trigger strikes again, and this time with their latest entry to the new Gridman universe. This new series expands on the kaiju theme from the aforementioned SSSS Gridman. Now there's a different feel to this one while still keeping the charm and comedy that was present in the previous series. Like the series before it, DYNAZENON is based on the old Gridman and Ultra series of shows, this one in particular featuring references to its various combination sequences. Just like Gridman, it gives a more realistic look at the characters around the robots. They really expand on each character's individual story and how they all converge with each other. The choice not to take the campy route like its live-action counterpart is very nice to see, as it can answer some of the questions some people, myself included, have about what really happens when you have a monster attack every week. Gridman gave us the answer that there is an omniscient being that actually creates kaiju to wreak havoc, and when they lose, they can remake the world back to the way it was, and anyone who dies has their existence erased from memory. DYNAZENON, on the other hand, gives us the answer that the damage and carnage does not get erased. When you have a kaiju battle, the aftermath has a consequence that weighs heavily on our heroes. They can see the destruction that their battles cause, the loss it creates, and the bad that comes with the good that they do in defending their town from their threat of the kaiju. We also get a good look at what juggling your everyday life with the responsibility of co-piloting kaiju-busting super machines is like. Our heroes consist of 2 high schoolers, a 5,000-year-old freeloader, an unemployed NEET, and his middle school cousin that's also not going to school. Each character has their own personal life and troubles they go through while ensuing on all the madness. Yomugi deals with his school life and part-time job while handling his mom's new boyfriend entering his life. Yume is facing the trauma of her sister's death and finally wanting to learn more about her since they didn't get along too well and always fought. Galma is trying to acclimate to the world after reviving years later, and the mystery of DYNAZENON and his connections to the kaiju eugenists. Koyomi is unemployed looking for purpose in his life, which he finds in helping pilot DYNAZENON, seeing it as a job saving people. Chise, who looks up to Koyomi, does whatever she can to see him happy, even deciding to stay home with him, but pushes him to be better in his life. The kaiju eugenists, the antagonists of the series, and kaiju users like Galma are trying to take control of the kaiju and want to see the monsters dominate the world around them. Now you can't forget what most of anyone came here for with the series, and it's the over-the-top giant robot battles. Like its live-action counterpart, DYNAZENON is made up of different giant robot pieces, which is Dyna Striker, Dyna Soldier, Dyna Wing, and Dyna Diver. Now each part has their own abilities and attacks that they can do, like Dyna Wing having lasers or Dyna Diver having missiles to shoot off of its back. Whenever all the pieces combine, they become DYNAZENON. Now they become DYNAZENON in its human form. Whenever they rearrange the parts, they can become Super Dragon Dyna Rex, which is a much more powerful and much faster version of DYNAZENON. Now the fights, as you imagine, are definitely over the top, and it really reminds me of the Super Sentai era of giant robot fights, where it's over the top movements and really insane crazy powers, like one kaiju has the ability to melt anything it touches, or one can control gravity, or another one where it spreads its wings that has the ability to teleport. The kaiju eugenists are the ones actually controlling the kaiju, and the way they do this is through a process called instance domination. That process allows them to take over the will of the kaiju and actually grow it to insane heights and use it to fight against DYNAZENON. Now the kaiju themselves are a little weird, so they require a source. This source was spread out around the city around the beginning of the series. Now kaiju grow because of the emotions of the people around them, whether positive or negative, and they also are influenced on their abilities by the environment around them. Trigger has a great way of conveying each character well while adding a more human aspect of the story. In between all the giant robot fights, it's just people being people, doing regular things. Of course they train to better understand Dynazenon and how to use it efficiently, but at the same time they don't let it interfere with their everyday functions and status quo. Now let's take a moment to enjoy one of those situations.
あ、待って。ん？ なんだよ。
Moments like this, or when our heroes and the antagonists end up at the pool together before their giant robot battle, really help the story feel grounded. It's really a nice break in between all the over-the-top fighting that goes on. So far, I'm really enjoying Dynazenon. It's definitely the typical super robot show on the surface, but deep down, it gives a great view of the characters as just people with regular lives acting as a part of circumstance, and gives an idea of what really happens behind the scenes of your usual Sentai-esque scenario. I hope to see more stuff like this from Trigger, as I really love their storytelling. But as always, what do you guys think? Have you guys watched Dynazenon? Do you like it? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you really enjoy the content, drop a like, and if you're feeling really frisky, drop us a sub. But as always, I've been Gizmo. This is WeebNClean. Remember to stay clean, and I'll catch you next time.